everybody. Welcome back to Art Shop with John Ross Palmer. We're here in Houston, Texas at your beautiful studio home, etc. And how were your holidays?
Very nice.
Good.
I know we took last week off, which I think was good.
Gotta do it.
Gotta do it. It freed me up like 2 essential hours to get some stuff done that I didn't think I'd get done. So it was like this gift of time. But nice Thanksgiving. The family got together.
Good.
And
you're all here in town?
We're all here in town. My sister lives in Seabrook, League City.
Okay.
So we all went there, spent the night. I brought the dogs. So it was
nice.
like a dog party. There's like 5 dogs in the backyard, and my beautiful niece and her husband just had a baby, Caroline Marie, 6 weeks old. So that was very special.
Oh, nice.
So special, so teeny tiny. It's unbelievable. Their little fingernails are there.
Uh-huh.
It's just so beautiful. And then we can grow up. So fun. What did you do, John?
Oh, I just hung around the house with the cat. I painted.
Good.
So got some work done, which was nice. I needed a nice quiet day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's very beneficial.
Sometimes it's exactly what we need is the day to do nothing.
Exactly. So actually, let's talk a little bit about that. The stress of the holidays and just so much work. I mean, I just had a solo show and I just had to tear that down, and somebody knocked over one of the walls and destroyed some art.
Oh no! Oh my gosh!
Just a drama everywhere you look. Nobody's fault really. It just
it's life. It just happens. Yeah.
And how do you deal with those kinds of things as an artist? I think maybe we don't always get a lot of sympathy. People think we've got the easy job, that we just sit around painting and
champagne at
eating
the pool.
bonbons.
Yeah, they do. They think that. That's exactly right.
And particularly, you go to holidays like this and your family. It's like, when are you going to get a real job?
Yeah. Right. So that is true. There's the double side of being an artist is people want to do anything to help you grow your career.
Yeah.
Promote you, talk about you, share you with friends. They don't do that so much if you're an engineer,
right,
or some other professions. But as an artist, they
let me help you do your law briefs.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's a beautiful thing about an artist is people want to share you and they're excited about what you do, and so they let other people know about it to open your circle to more people. Because eventually some people have enough art and you need to have new people. So that's what's good about having really people that adore what you do and they share with other people. But along with that, you're right. People assume that you don't work.
Right.
Because you think the artist's life is you wake up, you throw some paint around, you go do this, you talk to this fancy collector, this fancy place because they're fancy and you want to be fancy, and then you go, they don't think about the ins and outs of it, which are beautiful and they're not easy, but nothing in life is going to be easy.
I was promised a rose garden.
And how about those rose-colored glasses? You get those too?
That's working great for me.
It's going to be hard. Life is challenging. You deal with thing after thing. So would you rather have your life be stressful working for somebody else?
Yeah.
Or would you rather that stress be involved with your spirit growing, your career growing, your art becoming better, and sharing with more people? Because they're both going to be difficult.
Sure.
Why not do the one that's going to give you the most back and do the most beautiful thing for the world is to share your art and really authentically who you are as much as we can. I think through art, we do that. And it's so interesting. This is a side note. I was watching a YouTube. So I'm not like an addict to that, but when I have a bath, I like just to watch, not YouTube, but Instagram. And it's just, I'll start crying about a dog.
Stuck in the loop,
Or cats being crazy. It's just so, and I'm laughing or crying. It's really relaxing to do that. I guess that's what TV used to be for us, right?
Right.
The Instagram. So
not good to do in the tub with the TV.
No, or the hair dryer. Don't do that either. But there was a clip where they're in a restaurant. It looked like it was somewhere abroad, and a guy sits down to a piano and starts playing classical music, and they show people's faces, and they're like, he's playing. Then all of a sudden, a guy that was a guest in the restaurant stands up and starts singing, like operatic.
Opera,
Like beyond, it blows your mind. And think about how many people that could sing like that but don't have the confidence to do it.
Right.
Because I'm thinking, if I could sing like that, I don't know if I have the confidence to do it. I have the confidence in my paintings, but that's what's so important is the confidence, whatever you do, to put it out there.
And to take advantage of those opportunities when they arise.
Yeah, because they do come and then we're like, maybe tomorrow. It's never going to be the right time tomorrow either.
Right.
Get up and fall down, another thing we're gonna talk about is just making mistakes and
Yeah.
and letting that be what it is. And I read something today in the New York Times. I wish I could remember the author, but I'm giving credit because I'm mentioning it. It was in the New York Times today.
Look it up.
Look it up. But it talks about sometimes life is just hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard and there's no deeper meaning about it.
Right.
And so talk about like you're in this bad place, you're challenged, and you're like, what's this all about? And then you beat yourself up for being in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of just saying, you know, sometimes things are just tough.
Right.
And it's not always going to be tough. But that's what's so dangerous when people get depression, because when you get really depressed, you don't have hope.
Exactly.
You don't think tomorrow's going to be better.
And it escalates on you.
Yeah, your anxiety builds around it. You're like, one thing Oprah said too, similar to that, is sometimes you don't want to get up and go to work, but you get up and go to work.
Right.
I guarantee there's times that she did that, and that's why she is where she is.
Exactly.
Every day was not a beautiful, let's go, I'm a billionaire. Yeah, she wasn't that.
Yeah.
She was a local, I think, Chicago anchor person or whatever.
Worked hard, yeah.
She worked hard and she got up every day and got dressed, got herself together. Days you don't want to do it. Those are the days that are going to make you become better than the average person.
Right.
And
and fighting the fact that she's a woman of color and she's a woman, you know, in that industry.
Or we could use any excuse. I don't have the right income. I'm the wrong sex. I'm the wrong sexual orientation. The wrong race. The wrong religion. All those could make it so we don't succeed, because you know what? It's a lot easier to make an excuse
Yeah.
than to just be like, I'm going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the failure thing, I thought too about Oprah. She went through the whole thing with Texas and the beef industry.
Yes. Yes.
When she just said on a show, "Don't eat beef," or "I don't eat beef," or it was something
Very small.
very
statement,
small,
yeah.
but it
not intended.
no,
as a
it was just her
political
opinion.
statement. Yeah.
It was her opinion. And that lawsuit, and that could have ruined her, but she got through that and she survived it. And that's when I think she really became mega, because she went through that situation that most people would have crumbled. She built some career. One comment could rip it all away and censor what you could say, and she succeeded. You know, so anybody who I think is whatever level of success, whatever kind of career, they've done those things that other people say, "Oh, I can't do it," or "Oh, of course they can do it. I can't do it."
Right.
That's so easy to say. Then you go to bed at night not feeling like you're not doing what you should be doing. So failing is a big part. I think of all the projects I've done, different things that I thought this was going to make me so famous and successful. And the first one was I made greeting cards.
Yes, I tried that myself.
All good artists have. But I thought
What could be easier, right?
they're like $9 or $8. I'm going to sell them to Hallmark. I'm going to get it all out there. I've even bought these little windows you put the art in. I mean, I spent so much money, and I did the green and red ones for holidays and white. Nobody ever bought a greeting card for $9. It didn't work. And that's just one example.
Yeah.
But now I'm making candles. I mean, like, just keep doing something new, and it's going to work, because
Yeah,
a little piece here.
I convinced Bill Down that we should write a children's book, and so we did an ABC book with our cat, and I sent it to publishers. Nobody was interested, and I finally saw an interview from one of the ladies I sent it to, and she said the two things she hoped she would never see again is a cat book or an ABC book, and ours was both. So we just print them up and sell them from the studio.
Yeah.
And so what? It's a lovely book.
That is so like, yeah, I guess that's what's the challenge when you're thinking of something creative to do.
Yeah.
You know, like
we worked hard on that.
Oh, I know.
And the poor cat.
I know how hard it was. I know how hard doing anything to get a complete finished product is so complicated.
Right.
Because where all the success is, it's not the idea. We all have ideas and great ideas.
Yeah.
It's the guy that's going to go out there and bust his rear end and make it happen. That's the one that makes it successful. Oh, they stole my idea. No, you just didn't do anything with it.
Right.
We all have great ideas. But I know how hard a project that is. It's like rejection.
You know, and I think a lot of times, particularly with artists, that we're often work very much alone and things like that. And it can be very self-isolating. When you're in a business environment, you're in an office, you've got lots of support. You know, lots of people with other ideas who can steer you away from the mistakes.
Sure.
You know, we're going to make those mistakes. And that's part of the journey, right?
It is, because we all know we could go through a list of things that were mistakes that became
Yeah.
something incredible.
Mm-hmm.
First thing that came to mind are Post-it notes. Like they didn't know how to make the glue work right. It was a weak glue. And you know how expensive Post-it notes are?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like $20 for that. They're really expensive.
Yeah.
But that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
About I don't know what we were saying about the book or just failing or putting things together. Because within all those things, the magic does happen, and we grow and we do something different.
Right.
Or we get that bestseller book, Harry Potter, whatever, you know.
Right.
But then when you think about if you made that, let's not even go to her billions. Let's just say you made $5 million on your book.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, I've always had this balance of, is a lot of money going to make me not want to push?
True.
And be uncomfortable and do new things. So it's...
I'd love to find out.
Me too, I know. That's my next test. Give me the money and...
Yeah, I'll try.
Because I know things I've done is because I'm hustling and doing new things and figuring things out. And one of the really interesting things that have been really hard, what I've loved, is the Airbnb, some of the rooms at the studio.
Right,
here.
you're doing that now. Mm-hmm.
And
you guys can stay here.
You can stay here. It's very, very, very lovely. Custom candles, custom soap, embroidered towels.
Art's for sale.
And art for sale. But I've learned so much about that, about just getting a room totally together.
Sure.
Like, that room has to be perfect. But outside the door, it doesn't have to be. But you got to get that all perfect. And put like a little piece of chocolate on the bed. And if I have time to write a handwritten note to them. I mean, how awesome is that if you go somewhere and you have that little touch?
Oh, absolutely.
So I've learned a lot about serving the guest overnight, in that you can have the best room, offer the best experience, and they're still going to complain.
Yeah.
And to accept that. And that's about the rejection too,
and
or
they
failure.
Have that right. Yeah.
Right. They're paying, so no matter what you do, you're jumping up and down, and they're going to give you a bad review. And that was going to happen the day they booked it for whatever reason. But to accept that, because I've had maybe 100 guests so far, so there's been a couple bad ones. But since I've had 100, that's a small percent.
Right.
If I would have had 10 guests and 2 bad ones, well, then the numbers are really
skewed.
off.
Yeah.
So that's why you just got to keep doing, because if what you're doing is good, your art's good, the end of the book of your chapters of your life, it's going to work. But you got to do a lot of art. You got to have a lot of guests.
Sure.
And then the truth of what you're about or your listening will come out.
And it's so easy when you get that kind of negative feedback, or you run into that problem, or something bad happens. You so easy just to stop, to walk away, or to let it even pause
Fester.
your work.
And when that really happens is when you don't need to make money. Because we'll do anything to avoid pain. And if it's more painful to keep pushing and you have the bills paid, why are you going to be in pain? Nobody wants to be in pain. If I was sitting here with you saying, I look for pain every day, that's a problem. It's going to come no matter what. But the financial need, because money's hard to come by, it's a very powerful energy, money. It makes you go out there and do new, do better, try to touch or contact more people. Because again, if what you do is good, the bottom line is you're going to be successful. But a lot of people don't go out and do enough.
Sure.
They get distracted. Or, I'm not really selling my art, so I'm going to work a little extra time at work, a couple hours, and then you don't do any of your art. And you're making a little bit of money there. Don't do that. Don't get distracted by a little bit of money. Get the real money by having your art become successful.
I remember a lady who was showing at the Houston Center for Photography, I think it's called. And she had 10 years of her handwritten journals that she just wrote about her life, was turning into a book or whatever, memoirs or whatever. We had one of those big floods after a hurricane, flooded her house. All the ink smeared. It was beautiful.
Oh, that's awesome.
She took those pages, she photographed them, and turned them into a photographic exhibition.
Oh my gosh, even better.
And she's like, yeah, it really, really sucks that I lost all of that, because it was years of her memories and thoughts and activities. But she said, now I have this thing, this pile of beautiful purples and blacks.
Oh, right, like marbled together.
On paper, and she just made a photographic series out of it,
So, and what's so cool about that is if you would have told me this lady has, a decade of journals and okay, you tell me this story?
Right,
Now it's
right.
like, where is it? I want to see this.
Yes, exactly.
It was so much more dynamic.
Who would have ever read her journals?
Right. It's like, you want to look at my photo album? Okay, I was 3 years
Oh,
old.
great. What'd you do then?
Right. Or God forbid when this is going to be.
I mean, I don't mean to diminish her loss, but...
Or diminish when somebody goes on vacation and they're like, oh, you want to look at my photos from vacation? And they have 300. And you're supposed to go, wow. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah,
Same thing.
After the fourth picture.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a cute baby.
It's beautiful. But that is great because that could have destroyed a lot of people.
Absolutely. And it could have sent her down because she intended to do some publishing of that in a written format. And she lost all of her data.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think about handwritten lasts forever because computers can crash and all that. And so you wouldn't even think about something that's done manually
and
could get
the
destroyed
act
too.
Of doing it is so important, and to do it in ink and
especially knowing you're going to use it one day, so you want to have it a special way.
Right.
Don't put any ugly notes in there about people you're mad at.
Storing it in the basement or in the garage.
Yeah.
There it went.
I have a lot of journals, and I've just thought about it. I'm glad I have them up.
Put them high.
Yeah, and upstairs. So it's going to be a big flood to get those babies out. So we touched on failure, and that's a part of life.
Right.
And life is difficult, not bad, but make it difficult about you, not difficult about somebody else.
Sure. And what about self-care? I mean, we need to take care of ourselves. And again, if we live a very sedentary life or doing painting for hours at a time, it starts to hurt after a while. And if there's no one else around, how do you motivate yourself to take care of yourself? I mean, not only physically but emotionally.
Sure. Because you have to do all of that.
Absolutely.
They say,
there's no wellness program in my house.
Right. You work at IBM, they're like have wellness centers down this hall. I do
have the stationary bike, but it's usually for storing clothes.
I was going to say, when did you use it last? We know how those work out. Gosh, that got real big during the pandemic, and then the market went way back down again, of course. So everybody's different, and you have to really think about yourself when you're thinking of self-care. There's a description I heard that you can either be self-centered or selfish. So self-centered is not good because everybody revolves around you,
right? And
you're the most important thing. But being selfish means, you know what? I love you, but I'm not doing that.
Right.
Because I know if I do that, I'm going to be stretched, and I'm not going to be in a good place. So it's not going to be good for either one of us. But nobody likes to do that sometimes. Or nobody wants to be told no, or, hey, you want to do this? No. I mean, nobody wants that rejection. It goes back to the pain. But being able to do that, and not in an aggressive way, but a firm way, no, I do care about you, but I can't do this.
Right.
It's
set those boundaries and limits.
Set the boundaries.
Yeah.
And for me, my self-care, since I work where I live and I have 2 big dogs here that are basically 2 humans.
Indeed. Probably better than humans.
Better, but needy. They want what they want when they want it, and they want all, before you got here, like do 20 minutes outside and put them here so they can be quiet for our 20 minutes together. So when I get up in the morning, I always go somewhere and have coffee so I can just get out of the house because I don't go to a job, so that's when I go to different places, but just have some time for myself if I want to read the paper or read a book. Usually I'm reading the paper and I'm reading a book right now I forgot the name of it, but it's about self-care. It's interesting you bring that up. But it just gets my day going, and I make a list of important things I want to get done. And if it's real important, I'll write it on my hand. But that way I can come back and have an intention, come back clear. And then also like in the evenings when I've done all my work, take care of the dogs, put them in their house, then I do an evening ritual where I'll go out and meet clients or go have a glass of champagne at a cute restaurant. But I always walk. I don't like to drive if I don't have to. That's part of my health side of self-care is the physical part of that. So that's my thing, and I love it. I love it. It wasn't always love when I was married because I think I was with somebody that was more self-centered.
Right.
So I wasn't allowed that self-care as much. I had to fight for it, and I got it when I, but I felt guilt with it.
Right. And you tend to be more giving in that relationship, and
so just knowing any relationship when you do kind of say I need some more self-care, people would start getting nervous. What does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean to me? That you want more self-care? You're being, about you. What about me?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not very, very happy, Bogdan's never going to be very, very happy.
Right. Well, I'm going to make sure he's not.
Right. That is
I promise.
Amen. That's exactly right. There's no way you're going to have any pleasure if I'm miserable.
There's no way.
Absolutely. That says it all. That says it all.
That's a promise I can keep.
Yeah. But just to know when you're in a relationship to support your
Yeah.
partner when they need that.
Right. And to be able to ask for help when you need it,
Mm-hmm.
and to go and find it if you don't have a partner, if there's no one in your small business, your art
Yeah.
business, then you need to be able to prioritize yourself and your needs, because that affects your output, right?
Sure.
And your art. I mean, we want to, you had talked about that before. We don't all have to put pain and suffering in our art.
Yeah.
We can be happy.
Yeah. and we can have the pain, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
It's
Sure,
just
sure.
it's just I'd rather look at a happy pain than a sad pain.
Right. Right.
And something else that's about self-care that I think's interesting is I usually read the paper every day, the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. But it's not just about hardcore news or about wars, but they'll have other stuff about situations in the world. There's a problem with immunizations in Africa because of the pandemic, because there was a hiccup where they weren't getting what they needed at that age. Now they're aged out, even though it's like 3 years later, and they didn't get those essential vaccines, and there's a huge death rate because of that.
Oh, God.
So it's like now having to backtrack, and it's like $300 million from UNICEF to try to like find these kids that are like not that age in that school
Mm-hmm.
to immunize them. So it just makes you really appreciate you usually where your life is, and
Sure.
that we have a lot of freedoms and stuff in this country to do what we want to do, and just to understand everybody doesn't have that.
Exactly.
Life's not easy for a lot of people.
So quit complaining. Get to work.
Quit complaining. or like John Bishop's, I want to make your life miserable.
I'm gonna make your life miserable.
That was really funny. I like that.
Hope you guys have a great week.
Thanks
great
for watching
talking
again.
to you, and
Thanks,
we
John
will see you
Bishop.
next time. You bet. Thanks.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.